interfere.
Well, technically...
You were warned.
Look, let's talk about this. Find some common ground.
I think that went well.
The one thing that I absolutely love about the new Disco-era Trek, or Kurtzman-era, or whatever we call it these days, is the way it handles religion, how it analyzes it. It really looks at the beliefs of some and how others respond to that belief. It's excellent, in my opinion. It's honestly a model on how religion should be handled by all of us, whether we believe or don't. Today's essay is going to be taking a look at the Strange New Worlds episode, Children of the Comet, so spoilers for said episode. If you don't want to be spoiled, I wouldn't watch this right now. Alright, ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Our intentions were not hostile. Mahanit is on a collision course with an inhabited planet. We were simply trying to divert its trajectory.
Absurd. Would you adjust the height of the waves or the position of the stars? Mahanit's course is preordained.
Long story short, when breaking down the plot, the Enterprise comes upon a comet that has a structure on it, and the comet appears to have the ability to send out odd messages. It also has some kind of force field that can be activated and deactivated, but there is no one on the structure. They start studying it, and it sends out all kinds of different signals. After a while, the crew realize that the comet is about to hit a planet, and plans are made to destroy it or otherwise move it. They're doing this because if the comet hits the planet, it will destroy a civilization there. A vessel with superior firepower to the Enterprise arrives and tells the crew of the Enterprise that the comet is either God or is ordained by God, and thus can't be disturbed. Any such attempt will result in the destruction of the Constitution class, and now we're off to the races. To be clear, there's more to this episode than that. I'm skipping over quite a lot, but I'm just trying to get the bare bones. The reason for that is because the point of this essay is an attempt to look at the religious aspects and how Starfleet personnel respond to it. What's interesting is, unlike most people of the various series, most captains, this captain of this Federation vessel is actually religious. He's specifically Christian, at least according to Star Trek Discovery. That's not to say that other captains weren't religious either. Kirk arguably was, but Picard, Sisko, and Janeway were not. But the reason why I think it's important to know that Pike is Christian is because, well, the request by the Shepherd captain, oh yeah, the people on the ship are called Shepherds.
Who are you and why are you attacking our vessel?
We are the Shepherds.
Really?
Anyway, this captain asks if Pike is a reasonable man, and then uses Pike's response of yes to challenge him.
Are you a reasonable man, Captain?
I'd like to think so, yes.
If the captain of the Enterprise is a reasonable man, would it not be reasonable to assume that the comet has the best interests of all in mind? After all, if it is the will of the comet to save the civilization, it will. If it is the will of the comet to destroy thousands to hundreds of thousands of people and itself, it should do that too. This, to the monk, as he's called by some on the Enterprise, is reasonable. On spec, he sounds insane, but is he? If you look at it from the Shepherd's point of view, it is sincerely reasonable. A god, or his tool, after all, would know what is best for, well, the universe. It would be able to see into the future and make the right call. The problem is, while a god, or anything he makes, can do a marvelous job of deciding what is right, we can't. So how do we know that this is a true instrument of God? That it works the way that it should? This episode even highlights the, I suppose we could call it hypocrisy, but I'll be kind and say dual thinking of Captain Christopher Pike. We know in Star Trek Discovery's New Eden, Pike considers the possibility that the human civilization on the planet was placed there by a supreme being. And yet, in this Strange New Worlds episode, while he never outright states it, he is highly skeptical, if not believing it outright. He doesn't believe the legitimacy that the comet could be something divine. Due to this, he works against the Shepherds subversively to ensure that the space rock won't hit the planet and continues on a different course. This deception is never realized by the Shepherds, and we never see Pike feel bad about what he's done, which is effectively dishonoring someone else's religion if we're honest. He didn't care about the will of the comet, should there be a divine will of said comet. But that doesn't matter because ultimately we're given a whammy.
You were suggesting the comet was telling us it did not intend to hit Persephone 3.
Yes. It meant no harm.
That was the message.
Whether they wanted to or not, the crew of the Enterprise, no bloody A, B, C, or D, may have been doing the Comet's will. At the end of the episode, Uhura realizes that the signals that are being sent out by the Comet were actually a message that showed the new course that it should be going on, that Enterprise actually set it on, and how the process they got to move the actual Comet itself would help the society. It had data that could not possibly have been known until after the fact. It does appear in the episode that Pike and co. seem to believe that this may be divine providence, that the Comet knew what was going to happen. I personally have an alternative theory, though. It could also have been that the Comet was some form of sentient being. We've seen this in Legacy Trek before, so it's not outside of the scope. That it sent out a message to the Starfleet officers to tell them what they needed to do, and they may have figured it out on their own. And that's what makes the episode great, in my opinion, because by doing this, it really does reflect our reality. Maybe this space rock is divine, or maybe it was created by divine beings. More likely, it's probably just sentient or had some kind of advanced system to tell the crew what needed to be done, but either way, we can't be sure. It's open to interpretation. Our current limitations in the real world as humans means that we can't really know, not truly know, whether a God exists or not. Maybe if that God creates a specific connection with us, we can be aware, but on our own, it's impossible. And that's what we're left with in this episode, which makes it great. Maybe the Comet was sent by God, or maybe it was just an advanced being. Either way, people were saved, and so in the end, does it really matter? But that's my question for you guys. Was this Comet divine, and did it really matter if it was or not? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to rate and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded.